Did you know that Google used to be called Backrub? Yeah, weird, I know. Why Backrub? Well, because it worked by ranking pages higher if they had more links back to them from other sites. So if 10 websites linked to YouTube, but only 3 to Facebook, YouTube would be shown first in search. Here's what the original bold red logo looked like, as well as the rest of the website. Thank goodness they changed it. And did you know that before Jeff Bezos struck on the name Amazon, he had another, more magical name planned? Let me show you it. Abracadabra. Well, just Cadabra. Why did he change it? Because his manager thought it sounded too much like cadaver. And of course, they didn't want to be confused with that. So he thought of a few more names, including awake.com, browse.com, as you could find anything here, bookmore.com, because they originally just sold books, and relentless.com. And then finally, he thought of Amazon, and fortunately it stuck. But let me know below if you wish you chose any of the other names. Now, can you guess Pepsi's first ever name? Brad's drink? Yeah, I know you have some questions. The drink was sold in square glass bottles, not cans. And this is what the logo actually looked like back then. Okay, but I bet you're wondering, who's Brad? Well, here he is. The inventor, Caleb Bratham. He created Pepsi to cure indigestion, which is also known as dyspepsia. So in 1898, they renamed it to Pepsi. Some say it was named after the enzyme pepsin itself, but this was never part of Pepsi. And did you know that before we had X, we had a little something known as Twitter? Well, yeah, I know you all knew that. But did you know that before they chose Twitter, the developers tried a few different names, such as SMSy, because it was originally an SMS-based messaging service. Or Twitch, yeah, like that other website. And even Friendstalker, a bit strange. But thankfully they chose Twitter, and here's what the first website ever looked like. Now on to Toyota, which was actually first called Toyota, after their founder, Sakichi Toyoda. And here's their first logo if you want some more proof. But then how did the da become a ta? Well, Sakichi started off in the clothing business with the Toyota Model G automatic loom. This thing made the company so much money that they used it to get into the car business, making these bad boys. After this success, they needed a new logo, and so held a competition. Out of 30,000 entries, this design was chosen, with a name written in Japanese. But the company felt this was still too cluttered, so they removed the last 2 strokes, turning the da into a ta. Ta-da! And this also gave the logo 8 parts, which is a lucky number in Japan. Now for everyone's favorite browser, FireFox. You wouldn't expect any other animal to be attached to this other than the fox, right? Well, before it was FireFox, it was actually FireBird. Until Mozilla was sued by FireBird databases. And before that, it was Phoenix. But they were also sued by Phoenix Technologies. Why were they called Phoenix to begin with? The name came from it rising from the ashes of its dead ancestor, Netscape Navigator, the original browser. What about the famous chain Subway? What else could these guys have been named? Well, they were originally called Pete's Super Submarines. Subway in fact comes from submarine sandwich, which is just another name for a long sandwich. So they had nothing to do with underground trains, but in fact underground boats. And over time they changed the name from Pete's Super Submarines to Pete's Subs, then Pete's Subway, and then finally they landed on Subway. Okay, next up, can you guess this company's first logo? Is it A, Toshiba, B. AT&T, C. Sony, or D. Tesla? You guessed C. Sony. Are you sure? Well done, you're right. But why is their logo a T and not an S? Well, because it was first called Tokyo Tsushin Kyogo, the Tokyo Telecommunications Engineering Corporation. And believe it or not, before they made the PlayStation, the first thing they ever made was an electric rice cooker. Before being able to help people find one another, Tinder needed a little help finding itself, as it was originally called something completely different. Can you guess it? It's Matchbox. The company was created during a hackathon, and this was the name they really wanted. But after realizing it was too similar to Match.com, they changed it to Tinder. Can you guess which famous website was first called Auction Web? Where you could buy and sell anything, from broken laser pointers all the way to scratched up iPods. That's right, it's eBay. This was Auction Web, and this is eBay. And another thing you may not know is that eBay isn't actually short for Electronic Bay. It was actually supposed to be named after the founder's other company, EchoBay. But it was taken, so he shortened the name to eBay. Another classic website, Yahoo, also had a different name. It began as Jerry and David's Guide to the World Wide Web, named after the founders themselves. Their goal was to link people to the most important places on the internet. And it wasn't originally a search engine, but a directory like this. They changed the name to Yahoo because it was a fun word they liked, just slang for a dumb person. And later they created the backronym, yet another hierarchically organized oracle to match the site. Next on the list is Snapchat. What else could an app with disappearing pictures be called other than Peekaboo? Peekaboo! But another company had the name already, so they had to change it to Snapchat. Also, did you know they gave this guy the name Ghostface Chiller? Before Nintendo sold consoles like the Switch, Wii, Nintendo 64 and more, do you know what else they sold? That's right, they sold playing cards. Mainly Japanese Hanafuda cards, decorated with flowers, animals and other cultural images. But they also sold the cards we often use too. And because of this, their name was slightly different at first. Instead of just Nintendo, they were Nintendo Koppai, with Koppai meaning playing cards in Japanese. Yahoo! Thanks for watching. If you like that, there's going to be a part 2 soon with even more companies. But until then, check out this video. Thank you.